Okay, we have department related to project and a one-to-many relationship, project related to assignment, and employee related to assignment. Let's show how the foreign keys actually work by taking two of these and showing what a table relationship would look like. So here we've got the department table and the project table from the previous slide. We've got sample departments, marketing and finance, each of which is identified with a unique identifier, department ID. In our project table, we've got the project ID, project title, and start date. In addition, we've added the department ID as a foreign key. And this is how the relationship is maintained. So if you take a look at a project, specific project, so project 100, web interface, CRM, start date of 0801, the department ID associated with that is D1. From there we can link it back to the department table. We see D1 is marketing. So this is how that relationship is established. Essentially what we do is we introduce some redundancy in our tables by adding the primary key of one table as a foreign key in the second. And that's going to allow us to retrieve data later on. The data model that we showed earlier with a listing of all of the tables and all of the attributes within each table can get really messy. Realistically, if you start working with reasonable data models for reasonable applications, you're going to have a lot of entities. Some of those entities are going to have a lot of attributes. And it gets to be a real challenge to view the whole mess on one screen. So what we do is, or what sometimes people will do is, instead of creating the data model, as we've shown before, they'll go directly from an entity relationship diagram to what is referred to as a database schema. And with the database schema, you simply list the table name, and then for each table you list all of the attributes, including primary keys and foreign keys. So the one we looked at previously, this is how it would work. We've got employee, assignment, project, and department tables. So the table names here are shown in blue. For each table we've got the primary key, which is denoted with an asterisk at the beginning of it. So employee ID and so on. And then all of the attributes are listed after that. Notice that we still have the foreign keys. So we've got department ID is listed as a foreign key in project. You could denote the foreign key by putting FK behind them. In this case, we just use italics to try and indicate what the foreign keys are. So if you wanted to, you can create a data model, and the data model will have all the information you need to then take it and convert it into a relational database. Or you can do an interrelationship diagram and combine that with a database schema representation similar to what we're showing here. And the combination of the ER diagram and the database schema representation would be sufficient to describe the database that you're going to be creating. So what I'm going to be asking you to do in the assignment for this module is to create either an entity relationship diagram and a database schema, or to create a data model. You'll be doing one or the other, but not both. Okay, as I mentioned, the ER diagram or data model is simply a way to try and describe what we're going to be storing. We then take that data model or the database schema and we implement it using a database management system such as MySQL or Microsoft SQL Server. In MySQL, we would use the create table commands that we were shown previously. So what I'd like to do now is to take a look at an example. The one I've chosen, it's a company called Acme. They sell equipment and software to graphics designers. And on the following slide, we'll see a sample invoice of of how they bill their clients. What I'd like you to do is to take that information shown on the invoice, and from it try and derive what entities are involved that they're going to need to keep track of. Create an entity relationship diagram, so you draw the entities and the relationships, and create a data model, and create a database schema. There may be some information that's missing. If so, feel free to make an assumption to try and identify what information you think would be appropriate. What I'd like you to do is try this example on your own before you move on to Module 3, Part 2. In Module 3, Part 2, I'll be walking through a solution to this example, but you'll get much more value if you try it on your own before you see the solution that I come up with. Okay, so here's the invoice, and you can see it shows typical information, customer information, contact, phone numbers. So we've got an invoice number, a date for the invoice. We've got products listed, description of the products, how many of the products were sold, the price for each, a running total. We've got terms, salesperson, and so on. So what I'd like you to do is to take this information, make whatever assumptions you need, and then try and come up with an ER diagram, a data model, and a database schema. And that's the end of Data Management, Module 3, Part 1.